get high, but baby, if you want, he'll go down low. Doing a podcast on a random Thursday night. Girl, this blow, he's gonna make you feel alright. I know the manager, he knows what's going down. He'll make you laugh, but he damn sure is not a clown. I know the manager, and this man, he's got clout. He's gonna make you scream, you know he'll make you shout. He's gonna make you scream, he'll know he'll make you shout. I know the manager, yeah, yeah.
What up? It's another episode with I Know the Manager. This is episode 27. Ooh, we're so close to 30. So close. But let's get right into it. I'm going to talk about a few things and then I'm going to leave it up to my guest. Yes, I do have a guest. This is not a prank. One, we switch websites if you haven't found out. Like, Addicted Podcast exists no more. Done. Finito. Holla back. Okay, so the new website is IKnowTheManager.net. That is IKnowTheManager.net. So that's done. That's a thing. Everything's still the same, except I added a newsletter. So go ahead and sign up for that. When I have, a few more people sign up for it, I'll start doing it. But until then, I don't want to waste time or resources. So not being a dick, just saying. Another thing is, okay, so the I Know the Manager live podcast has come. Here's a funny story. So, yesterday was Monday, and I'm never anybody's MCM, Man Crush Monday or some shit. So I put that on my Facebook, and then one of my buddies was like, hey, you should go on a date with this guy. I'm going to start the auction, blah, blah, blah. And people started bidding. I mean, when I say people, I mean chicks started bidding, and I was like, okay, this is really happening. I don't know if they're going to pay me or not. And then it led to, okay, well, I'll still take you on a date, but then it led to a co-host spot on my live podcast December 30th. Okay, December 30th, 7 p.m. at Maggie Myers in Huntsville, Alabama. Google it. Be there. Be square. But then what happened was, me and him started talking, was like, whoa, is this really happening? And because it kept going 35, 40, 45, really started getting up there. So, and then it was going to go to midnight, but it stopped pretty early on. But so then we decided, well, let's, if anything above set amount, we'll give to women and children abuse charity. And then we got up to $75. That's my net worth, guys. But that's my net worth. $75. $75. All right. So then, we messaged this morning, and then we're like, hey, let's make this live podcast a charity. Let's make it a thing, because as misogynistic as I can be on here is all a joke. For real, I really care about people, and I'm always there if you need to talk. Always there, pretty much. Unless I'm doing something like work, I can't really talk. But even at work, sometimes I can talk. So. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. This charity, this I Know the Manager live podcast, will go to a local Huntsville women and children's abuse center, or charity, sorry. And, what I'm going to do a donation thing there. And if anybody wants to, they can put money in. If not, you don't have to. No one's going to judge you. If you have $1 and you just want to give $1, if you want to give $1,000, that's fine too. That is totally up to you. I will not judge you for not putting $1 in there. The event is still free. I'm going to go as long as I can with not charging people. If I ever get to a point where I have to rent out a place for a venue, which I highly doubt it, because I know that is a very hard thing to do, sell out venues like that. From listening to other people and that's been around for a while and has thousands of fans, it's really just hard. But for now, it's in Huntsville and it's free. So, but if this goes well, people, every time, hey, and don't get on to me. Whatever charity that I choose, I will donate to. Like every live podcast would be donated to a certain charity. So, and don't tell me, I get it. There's a lot of charities, okay? But let me get back in my own way, and every time I do one, which hopefully it'd be every 3 months. If not, fuck you, okay? Nobody's getting charity except this one. And if I can just get, I know we got $75, and I'm going to donate some money. So this is going to happen. You know what I mean? So let's get started. And today we have a special guest. We have Dave Stone. Don't know who Dave Stone is? Pause it, Google it real quick, or just listen to the podcast. Maybe we'll talk about him. We're gonna put the "we" in weird. Is all I'm saying. Let's get weird with it. But I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. I just wanted you to know that awesome news. So come out to my live podcast. Come in your pants. All right, and to the podcast. Love you all. Thanks for listening. Sorry for any. I'm sorry that I changed the podcast name, but it was much suitable. But here we go. We're getting right into this podcast right now. All right, so we're here with Dave Stone. How's it going, Dave?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Busy life. How you been, man?
Hanging in there, man. Things are good. Just trying to stay busy.
Yeah, you back from your tour?
Yeah, I got back a few weeks ago. I was out for about a 3-month tour.
Okay,
and,
that was
a lot of fun. But now I'm back in Los Angeles.
Now that was the
go ahead. Trying to adapt to that lifestyle.
Oh yeah. Now you were on the Down Yonder tour, right? Like, is that the?
Yeah, I called it the Wander Down Yonder tour. It was basically all over the Southeast. So I think I did. What did I do? I did like 24 cities in the Southeast over the course of about 5 or 6 weeks, and then I spent about another 5 weeks just in Atlanta, just doing shows every night there, pretty much the entire month of September.
Mm-hmm.
So just spent a lot of time all over the Southeast this fall. It was a lot of fun.
Oh man, now you're from Mississippi, correct?
No, I'm from Atlanta.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Right. I don't know why I was thinking Mississippi. Okay, so is that like your home? Like, so everybody was like, "Oh, welcome back." Is it kind of like welcoming, or are they kind of like, "Fuck him"?
Well, I mean, maybe behind my back, but to my face, everybody was welcoming. It's that's where I started comedy, and I did comedy there for about 5 or 6 years before I moved to LA. And just a lot of good memories there, a lot of good friends, and it's always fun when I go back there. Everybody's very welcoming as far as putting me on their shows, and I can get a lot of stage time, so it's a lot of fun.
Oh, good, man. That's always good then. Yeah, because I seen you when you were in Huntsville, and that was a great show. That was really funny. And I was like, oh, man, I'm glad. Because, I'm just, was it fun for you? Was Huntsville, it was, you can just be honest. I don't give a shit. But, was it a fun, a venue? Did you have fun there? Were we too heckling?
Yeah, I remember it being surprisingly fun. And what I mean by that is it was an awesome venue, but it definitely, where were we at the Page?
Yeah,
and it was a cool venue, but upon first arrival, it did have a very a rowdy dive bar vibe to it,
mm-hmm.
which when I'm hanging out on my own time is the kind of bars I prefer to spend time in. I like a dimly lit kind of casual, gritty dive bar, but sometimes those bars aren't the best atmosphere for comedy, just because. Sometimes the crowds tend to be a little more rowdy, and, if it's a place that doesn't have comedy often, they're like, hey, I come here every night to raise hell. Why is this asshole with a microphone telling me to be quiet?
Yeah.
So sometimes those dive bar vibes can be pretty tough. So when I walked in, I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a tough place to do comedy. But, man, surprisingly to me, as soon as the show started, everybody shut up. They faced the stage. They were very attentive, and it turned out to be a really good show. I had a good time. Yeah.
That's the first time I walked in there. I was like, this is where the show's at. Okay. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. Now, every now and then, I think the worst thing that happens there is you get the, you said, the rowdy people. The most rowdy it really gets is people roll tide.
Yeah.
Just over and over. It's okay. Can we kick this motherfucker out? Now every once in a while you get a comedian. It's okay, that's it's cool. Let's do it. And then they make fun of him. Like one guy looked like Nick Saban, and we kind of bounced off that. But after about 2 or 3 times, it's fucking old. It's because everybody's there for the comedy, and that's. I mean, it's not. It is heckling, but it's kind of it's not a mean heckle. Get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah.
But it's still okay, shut the fuck up. Everybody's trying to listen.
those people that want to participate in the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they don't. They're not being mean about it, but it's, at the same time, you're like, all right, dude, shut up so I can do my joke.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you want to start comedy though? How'd that come about?
Well, I've always liked comedy. Even as a little kid, I was a big fan of stand up way back in the day, and and growing up through my school years, elementary school, middle school, high school, I kind of learned. I didn't really know it at the time, but I guess later in my teenage years, it just kind of hit me like, oh, I'm kind of funny. Like I wasn't the class clown, but I was always one of the funniest guys in my little peer group, my little gang of buddies. I was always the one that just, I don't know, not to brag, but had a little sharper sense of humor than everybody else. And
yeah, I get
when
it.
I was a teenager, I thought about, doing stand-up, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything as far as, how you go about getting into it. So I was like, yeah, stand-up comedy would be fun, but, so would being a movie star. Like, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of put it out of my mind for years, and then kind of my mid to late 20s just kind of hit me like, oh, man, this is something I really need to try to pursue, and just started doing open mics in Atlanta and amateur nights and stuff like that, and was immediately hooked, and kind of had my foot on the gas ever since then.
Yeah. That's kind of like I am. Like when you say sharp sense of humor, I can just be in a conversation and it just happens. Like you say something, I will find something. I'll do my best to try to find something funny, And then, but if it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't have found comedy because I moved to Huntsville. And there was a Huntsville comedy Facebook page, and I was like, okay, well this is a comedy podcast. You need to share this. Will you share this? And he was like, yeah, I'll share it. And I was like, cool. And then we just would message from Huntsville Comedy. One day this guy added me, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I was like, who are you? I don't know you. And he was like, do you stand up or anything? I'm like, no. He was like, well, I think he said you should or you can or something like that. And I was like, well, I'm not funny. I can't write jokes. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't do that. And then a few weeks later, I was like, I think I'm going to do it because I started going to open mics because I was like you. I didn't know how to go. How do you get in that field? Do you? So
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, that's how. And then sat at a few open mics and made a decision to start writing jokes. And I was just like, okay. And then ever since, I've been at it.
Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah, man, I love some comedy. I think, like you said, you started watching. What was your first, stand-up comedian or stand-up comedy show that you ever seen that was like, oh, okay,
First one I ever saw?
Yeah, if you remember.
Probably the first live stand-up comedy show I went to, probably 98 or 99. I was a teenager, and I went and saw James Gregory at the Punchline in Atlanta. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a regional guy. He's probably one of the funniest and most successful Southern comedians who is not on a national scale. I don't know. Doesn't really have a lot of TV credits or anything like that, but he tours the South and has a good fan base and just tours all over and just real funny. Kind of that. He was kind of the blue collar comedy stuff before that was even a thing.
Yeah.
He was one of the godfathers of that Southern blue collar type of comedy before Foxworthy and all those guys made it a household name. But he was just absolutely hilarious dude. He's still touring, but as a teenager, getting to go see him, I just thought, good God, how can anybody be funnier than this dude? It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So, that made an impression on me early on as far as live stand-up.
Yeah, I think the first show, I don't remember even what year. I was young, but I don't know how young. Whatever year it came out, because I know it was VHS, The Kings of Comedy. Where it was, I remember when that came out. And I don't know what possessed me to buy it. I didn't buy it, Mom bought it. But I was like, buy this for me. And she bought it. And, I remember just watching it over and over. If it was on a weekend, I'd watch it, 2 or 3 times a day. And I was like, man, that's fun. That's cool. But at that time, I never, in my mind, I was too young to, I'm going to do that one day. You know what I mean? But I remember watching that. I actually watched it pretty recently. It was just Like just trying to go back to that mind frame, or and now I'm just doing it. Like I think I've only did comedy for like 3 or 4 months though. That very very short amount of time, but it's been very fun. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm a noob. So how was like working on Last Comic Standing? Like, was it like really like the comics? Like y'all don't really talk to each other. Y'all kind of like a feud thing, or is it kind of just like how does that work?
Oh, no, there was good camaraderie. It was just basically I just did 2 things with them. One day they filmed what they call the background package on me. I don't know if you saw. They ran a little story about me living in a van and all that. So we shot that one day, and that was just me with a bunch of production people, just the director and some camera guys just following me around all day. So that was what it was. But then when we taped the actual show, I happened to be, I think there was maybe 20, 25 comics on the live show that I did, and I probably knew half of them. So yeah, it was just kind of an all-day thing. It took them like 4 or 5 hours to shoot this thing. So most of that time I was just hanging out in the green room with, a lot of my buddies were on the same show, Billy Wayne Davis, people like that. So we're just hanging out, just kind of killing time. And by the time that it was time for me to go up and do my set, I had been waiting around so long that I really didn't even have any nerves. It was just like, good, finally, let's go do this thing. And I think I did 4 or 5 minutes, and of course they always chop that down. I think when they aired my set, it was like a minute and a half, which they never consult you on how they're going to edit it. Yeah. And I wasn't displeased with it, but like the set that they aired, it was my opening joke and then my closing joke. And my opening joke was like 6 seconds long, and my closing joke is like a minute and a half long. And in a real set, I would never just do those 2 jokes back to back in a flow, But the way they edited it, it just looked like I did 2 jokes. I did a 6-second joke and a 90-second joke, which just makes your set kind of lopsided.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't really have any say in that, so it's just like, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't have edited it that way, but, it's nothing I can do about that. But, yeah, it was a good experience. It was a lot of fun. And I didn't really even worry too much about the competition aspect of it. To me, it was just doing another TV spot. It was just a chance to do a set on TV. Like a late night set is kind of the standard that most comics are always trying to get. Everybody's trying to get on Letterman or Conan or whatever. I was fortunate enough to do Ferguson last year, and so I just looked at it as like another late night set, only better in the sense that it was a prime time. Show as opposed to late night. A lot more people saw that than they did probably my Ferguson set. So, I was like, well, if I could just do the one set on TV, if I advanced, that'd be great. But if not, hey, I just did another TV spot. So who cares? Big deal. It was fun.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Fuck yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty simple way to look at it instead of just getting all tensed up and
plus the whole concept of the show. I mean, I was grateful to do it, but let's be honest, the competition comedy, obviously we all know stand-up or comedy in general is a very subjective thing, and to judge and compete and it felt awkward. So I was like, don't worry about if you advance or get picked or whatever. Just do your set and be happy with that. Yeah, so that's the way I looked at it.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I would have been, and then that's good. You knew how like half the people. I actually made a road trip to Nashville, and I'd seen these comics like perform, and I never, like I've said a word to them, just like So I'm like, I felt really awkward as fuck. But then afterwards, I kind of loosened up and talked to 1 or 2 of them, and was like, well, I gotta go, man. So, but it was a good experience. I like carpooling, especially to go try to network, as awkward as I am. I'm a very awkward person, especially with women.
Yeah, well, most comics are.
Because we all, like, I seen a few would look at me in the eyes, and I would look at them, but it's kind of like, I'm not walking to you. But, we both had that, like, going on. Like, I'm not walking to you, but if you want to talk, let's talk.
Yeah, well, that's how it is, But once you do it long enough, then you kind of gravitate towards the funny people. One of the things I get the biggest kick out of, and it doesn't happen too much anymore, and this sounds pompous, but some of the open mics I go to, a lot of people know who I am or whatever. But, back in the day, I'd go to an open mic, especially if I was on the road. I tour a lot. So, like on an off night, if I don't have a show, I'll go to a local open mic wherever I'm at. For example, one time I was in Louisville on an off night, and I went to an open mic, and there's always this sizing up process of there might be 20 comics there, and 18, 19 of them all know each other, and then they're like, who's this guy nobody knows, and nobody will talk to you before the show because they don't know who you are, and that's natural. We're all like that, either consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah.
But then I went up and had a really good set, and then it's just amazing how immediately that light switch flips on, to where as soon as I get off stage, then you got 5, 6 comics. Hey man, what was your name? That was really funny. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't give me the time of day 10 minutes ago, but now that I'm halfway funny, now I'm your best pal. So
yeah.
And not to knock them. I mean, I've done the exact same thing in Atlanta. Who's this asshole? And then it goes up and has a good set. And you're like, oh hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
So that's. But I always get a kick out of whenever I can kind of make that happen. Like, oh yeah, so now that you saw that I did well, you'll talk to me.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of comedians. So
yeah,
but I always get a kick out of that.
It's like I'm good enough to talk to you now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I passed your test. Thanks. Now I get to watch your set. Guess what? You're not funny enough. So
yeah. No, if you ever go to open mics now and they do that, you should just be like, that was not free. You should pay me money because you just saw me. Just be like just be like a total douchebag then,
Yeah. So where do I get paid?
Yeah. Oh, this wasn't a paid gig. So
I remember.
Oh,
that's funny you mentioned that. My first ever guest spot at a real comedy club was at the old Funny Farm in Roswell, Georgia. And I got the guest spot for Greg Giraldo a couple of years before he died.
Mm-hmm.
But not knowing anything about anything, it being my first guest spot, at the end of the night, they were paying the headliner and the feature and the MC. And then I asked the guys, like, oh, by the way, how much do I get paid? And he laughed at me. It's like you did a guest spot, you idiot. You don't get paid anything. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fun. That's funny because I got my first. I if he wouldn't have said you're not getting paid, because I did my first guest spot right after my 1 month of doing it, and he's like, you want to guest spot? I was like, yeah, cool. And he's like, it's 5 minutes, and I was like, cool, I can do that, got it. And but if he wouldn't have been like, you're not getting paid, I probably would have did that. Like I'd have probably been like, okay. $3, $5, like, come on, how much am I getting? So, but he was nice enough. He did give me, he was like, here's $5. We made some extra money. I was like, oh, cool. So $5 for 5 minutes. I was like, I need to get 60 minutes. So,
yeah, next time, can I do an hour?
Yeah. Yeah, can I do an hour next time? But, I just got my first, I did my first 15-minute set, was it last week? But it was the first time we have done comedy there in a while. We're working out agreements as far as paying. So I didn't get paid that one, but that landed me. I don't know if it was that landed me another gig or what, but one of the venues here, one of the hosts asked me to do like a actual paying thing, and I was like, finally, awesome. Like, that's awesome. So finally get to do that. Finally get to get paid more than $5.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Why did you move to LA? Like, was it because of Squidbillies, or was it just you wanted to?
Oh no, Squidbillies had nothing to do with it. Squidbillies was is still made in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it was just done that. I mean, there's a reason why any comic moves to New York or LA. It's because you're trying to take that next step in your career.
Yeah.
And I, like most comics who are thinking about a move, I struggled with, well, do I go to New York or LA? And it basically just came down to quality of life. I knew that the weather being a lot better, and just the quality of life in general, I thought would be a little bit better in LA. But as far as a career move, stand-up's always going to be my bread and butter, but there's other stuff I'm interested in as far as like acting and writing and things like that. So LA is just the place to go. And also, I had kind of gotten all I can get out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a rule of thumb, and again, I don't want this to come off as like arrogant, but it is what it is. They say when you're one of the top guys in your scene, it's time to move.
Yeah.
When you kind of ride wherever you're at, me being in Atlanta, it was a great scene. It's an even better scene now than it was when I lived there. Now it's just really incredible as far as the talent, the amount of stage time. But when I was there, there was a core group of dudes that kind of had risen up to the top. Andy Sanford, myself, guys like that, and Noah Garden-Swartz, Gilbert Lowen. So once you kind of, and it wasn't an ego thing, but it was just a self-awareness thing. It was like, well, I'm clearly one of the better dudes in town. I'm getting the best spots. I'm being asked to headline all the shows and blah, blah, blah. Once you kind of get to that upper echelon of your scene, I mean, it's good for your ego. It feels good to be like one of the top guys, but it doesn't really do you any good as far as your growth as a comedian or your progress in your career to maintain that position for too long. So, well, after a few months of like realizing like, oh, I'm one of the better guys, then it was like, all right, it's time to move. And I always equate it to like, I was a big athlete when I was younger, so I always analogize things with sports, but it's like being a basketball player. If you're playing pickup basketball and you're going down and playing with, 11, 12-year-olds, at the playground, if you're a teenager or a grown man, you're probably going to dominate those guys. And that's good for your ego, but that's not going to make you a better basketball player. You got to go play the college guys or whomever who are better than you and get your ass kicked every night, and that in turn is going to make you a better player. Well, comedy's the same way. Not that it's a competition, but just being around, that's the great thing about LA. Like every night of the week I'm on shows with guys, who are just phenomenal. I could be on a show with Kyle Kinane or Pete Holmes or Rory Scovel or Don Mulaney or Bill Burr, and it's just like, yeah, guess what? You're not going to be the funniest guy on that show. Yeah. But at the same time, it makes me step my game up because it's like, well, I may not be the funniest, but I don't want to stick out in a negative way. I don't want to be the worst. I don't want to have the worst set of the night. So it really challenges you to step up your game as opposed to if I was just staying in Atlanta for years and years and I got complacent with just, I'm one of the top dogs. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Being a big fish in a small pond, it's better to be a small fish in a big pond. It's one of the best ponds in the world. So that's the benefit of moving to LA or New York. Either one of those scenes, you're going to get that experience, on a nightly basis.
That makes sense. No, because I always think about that, like, and a lot of Huntsville comedians listen, and not in like you say, not in a pompous way or egotistical way, but like, I'm like, well, I can only do so much here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I will have to leave. Like, if this is really what I want to do, I'm going to have to leave one day. Like, of
course, because the industry's not in Huntsville.
Yeah.
The industry's really only in two places. Even as great a scene as Atlanta is, and now they're filming movies and stuff there, but still the industry is in New York and LA. Nobody, but at the same time, that's the reason a scene like Atlanta is so refreshing, because the good comics there know that, so no one's trying to get on Letterman from Atlanta. No one's trying to get a half-hour Comedy Central special from Atlanta. They're just trying to get good.
Yeah.
And then when you get good enough, then you move to New York or LA, and then you start worrying about trying to quote-unquote get stuff, whether it be TV or whatever you're trying to do. But in Atlanta, everybody knows they're not going to get anything, so they're there for the sole purpose of getting good at comedy.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose of a scene like that. And then once you get good, then it's time to go out and see what you can make out of it.
Yeah, I was talking to a comedian the other day, and he was like, and you might can vouch for this, but like, I guess it would hold true. Like, okay, just say I get an amount of time, I get said time, I would want to venture out maybe anywhere from 50 miles to 100-mile radius from where I'm at to try to do shows, and then kind of go 300 miles, and after I did the 50-mile to 100-mile radius, and then kind of just venture out, and then basically, I mean, it's from like a 1,000-mile radius, then it's the sky's the limit. Is that does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, but more importantly than miles or radiuses, you need to go where the stage time is. Yeah. And that's why Atlanta was so good for me. And I would recommend this to any comedian who's living in the South right now, who's in a smaller scene, and not to condescend to them, but a smaller scene like a Huntsville or a Birmingham or a Hattiesburg or a Chattanooga or even a Nashville. There's good comics in all those cities, but you have to ask the question, can I get on stage every night?
Yeah.
And, if you can, great. If you can get on stage every night in Huntsville, then maybe Huntsville's a little bigger scene than people think, but you know, if you're not getting on stage every night wherever you live, you need to go where you can, and the closest place in the South would be Atlanta. If you live in the Midwest, you need to move to Chicago. If you live in the Northeast, you need to move to New York, whatever. But like, go, and that's the cool thing about Atlanta is some of the core guys there now are guys that moved there from other cities just to do comedy. Jake Head moved from Jacksonville, Florida. Kevin Socher moved from Alabama. John Michael Bond moved from Chattanooga. So many guys. Brian Emon moved from, I believe it was Cleveland. So many guys are moving to Atlanta from other cities just for the purpose, and it has nothing to do with money, knowing they're not going to make a living at comedy in Atlanta. They move to Atlanta, they get a day job, but then they get up every single night, and that's how you get good. You don't get good getting up once a week, twice a week. I equate it to like a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder doesn't get that physique by working out 3 times a month. You know, a bodybuilder gets that physique because he works out every single day. You know, and it's a lifestyle. Same thing with comedy. You're not going to get good, you know, just dabbling with it. If you really, and there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. You know, there's guys that have no desire to be a career comic, and that's fine. But like, if you're wanting to make a career out of it, you got to do it as much as humanly possible, and that means you got to move to a place where that'll allow you to do that. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, we got 4 open mics Monday through Thursday, and then most Friday and Saturdays. Like, not every Friday and Saturday, but like most of them we have just like shows. And then, you know, then Sunday's nothing, but apparently like the last week, two like this month's crazy. It's like we're growing to a point like we're having to start new shows. We're having to like make more open mics, and it's just because I think right before I started there was maybe 2 open mics, and then 2 more just popped up. It was like, okay, you know. And most of the time it's like 7-minute sets. Sometimes it's 5, but most of the time it's like 7. You know, which is but it's pretty good. I try to do it because like I'm like you, or I'm like them guys. I got a day job, and then I try to do comedy. And like, see, I GM, and my boss is sometimes like, I know you love comedy, but you got to tighten it up here. I'm like, okay, and I do. I do my best, but like at the end of the day, this is kind of like what I want to do, you know what I mean? And like, I love my job. I've worked for the company for 9 years, but I've always wanted to make people laugh, and I kind of know, like, if I'm going to take this serious, I need to write. But I can't, like, sometimes I have tried to write, just sit down and write jokes, but it doesn't, for me, sometimes it doesn't work. Like, I'm more of, I'm going to take a drive, and then bam, 5 jokes will just come in my head. I'll start writing them while I'm driving. I'm fuck texting and driving. I'm gonna run some people over and write jokes. So, and like yesterday, right before the open mic, I was driving. I had a 45-minute drive to the to the open mic, and I wrote them jokes. I wrote a 7-minute set out, maybe 6. I need to iron that out tonight. Actually, that's what I'm doing when I iron, because I after I like paid attention to myself, I was like, I could tighten that up to at least 5, maybe. You know, because I got a little nervous and threw in a bunch of excess words that didn't give a fuck. You know, it didn't make sense. Yeah. So I was like, tighten that up tonight. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing as soon as I get off here. I'm going to be going to an open mic, man.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, man. So hopefully one day. But I learned a lot just from that. Like, LA would be the place, or New York, because I know here. Like, I'm not shitting on the scene or anything. I'm just saying, like, you can only grow so much here, and you got to go somewhere else. I even heard another comic that was touring, and then he told another comic from here, you got to leave this place. Like, just, you know, you got to leave. And he was just like, yeah, but no, I will leave if that's what I would really have to do. Like, at no point am I there yet. But I'm gonna ride this here as long as I can, and if I'm still doing comedy, which I'm pretty sure I will be, then I will leave this place in a heartbeat. So, and I guess that's the thing. I'm glad you clarified that, though, because I always wonder that in my mind. You know what I mean? I never say that to anybody. I don't want to seem like a jackass. Like, y'all, some of y'all, need.
Yeah, you absolutely have to leave if you want to really do something at the next level. Now, there are some guys who live in the South who are perfectly content with being a Comedy Zone headliner or whatever, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're, it all depends on what you want to do with your career. If you want to be in legitimate show business, then you have to go where legitimate show business is done, and that's L.A. or New York. It's really the only two spots, and there are great scenes all over the country. Like I said, I think Atlanta's one of the best secondary scenes there is.
Yeah.
Denver's a good scene. Austin's a good scene, and those are great scenes to really take your game to the next level. But as far as like wanted to accomplish something, as far as again, it all falls on whatever you want to do. But if you want to do something in show business, you got to go where the industry is. They're not going to come to you. They're not doing showcases in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they're just not.
Yeah.
No offense to those guys, but or any small city in the country. They're just. There's this illusion that I'm going to get discovered at so and so, or no, you're not. You're not going to get discovered.
Yeah,
The only way you're going to get discovered is being in their faces every night, and that's New York or L.A.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever because I know you tour, and there's a secret amongst us that people don't know, but do you ever get tired of telling the same joke? Like you're just like, fuck, you just get on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you always should, and you should, as far as a certain amount of time. I mean, times ask me, what's your favorite joke that you have? Well, usually the answer is whatever's new. Whatever I'm working on that's like 6 weeks old or younger. That's the stuff I'm really excited about. It's the older stuff. That's your act. That's why they're paying you. But but that being said, I still, everybody has their own shelf life as far as when a joke should expire. But, you see guys I know guys who are doing the same joke for 10 years. And that's a little much, man.
Yeah.
Doing the same joke for 10 years, you need to write some new jokes, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there is that fine line of I totally understand and agree with polishing your jokes. The jokes that are new today, in 6 months, hopefully they'll be more polished, and do them for a year or two. But I'm not saying we all got to be Louis C.K. where you're writing a new hour every year, but get your jokes polished, get them good, do them on the road, get paid for them, but then retire them after a certain amount of time. Me personally, I try not to do anything that's more than 3 years old. Yeah. And even those jokes only come out when I'm doing an hour, headlining or something. What really irks me is, you see guys at an open mic, like when I was in Atlanta, I'd see guys at an open mic doing a 6-year-old joke. And I'm like, why would you do that at an open mic? An open mic is develop new stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of that falls into that theory of, I'm afraid to fail. I don't want to do bad. It's an open mic. Who cares if you do bad?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to impress at an open mic? Now, your showcase set, you're trying to get on Conan, you're trying to get on Letterman, you're trying to get to a festival, you do your best 5 minutes no matter how old it is. But, when you're just doing spots around town, man, stop doing the old crap, because that's not gonna make you grow.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I think because I do pretty much different jokes every time now. I'll do the polish up thing, but I think I took like a month ago. I was like, I'm not doing comedy for a week because I don't have any new material. I don't you've heard it all. I think it's polished out as best as I can. So just I'm gonna, and it's tight. It's a good set. So I was just I'm not gonna do it. But then I did it again for 5 or 6 days. People were like, "Are you signing up?" No, I don't want to sign up tonight. Nothing against you. I'm just I don't want to say the same shit. I don't want to waste anybody else's time. And then Monday I came back and I had whole new shit. And now this week I'm gonna do what my buddy, he called it the gauntlet. Monday you start telling and you tell new jokes, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday iron that shit out. At all different, and then you're done. If it was approved, if you get the crowd to laugh or the comedians to laugh, then move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am. I can't just go on stage. Even if I had just one new joke and I just wanted to try one new joke, I might do that. But typically I don't even want to just go up there for one joke. I like to have, but if I only have half the time, and I would just maybe do that. I don't want to waste time up there trying to make shit up, you know. Just, I don't want to fuck with anybody's time. I get really annoyed about that lately. I don't know. It's just like, if you don't have shit, just get the fuck off the stage. Stop making shit up.
Yeah. Always come prepared.
Yeah.
Don't just get up there and ramble.
Yeah. So, but what do you do off stage? Like, I mean, I know you do comedy, and I know you probably write jokes and you tour. But like, what do you do when there's no comedy going on? Like, what's your hobbies or fun things to do?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a boring answer, but like, I love hanging out with buddies. You know, I got a good core group of friends here in Los Angeles. So about every day, I'll try to spend time with somebody, whether it's, I'll name drop a little. My buddy Ryan Singer and I, we'll go on hikes and do craft, hang out with Roar Scovel a lot. We'll goof off at his place. And, it's that's part of being a comedian. And this sounds like such a weird concept, but literally part of your job. Like, I'm fortunate enough to not have a day job. So that means I have a ton of free time when I'm not touring. So part of my job is hanging out with funny people. That's so important. People don't realize that, or other comics don't realize that, but you have to, even if it's non-comedy related, even if it's me and a buddy going on a hike or going to play tennis or whatever, you just need to constantly be around funny people, because that's just where, comedy happens. Not that we're like, okay, we're together, let's make each other laugh, but it's just, organic humor coming from hanging out with funny people. Man, some of my best jokes have been unintentionally written when I'm just goofing off with pals, or some of my best tags are tags that buddies have given me when we're just goofing off. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just important. If I'm not on the road, I'm at home in LA, and I try to write a little bit every day. I try to get up every night, but in the in-between time, I'm usually just hanging out with buddies.
Yeah.
And here lately, as far as to give you a specific answer, I went through kind of a change of the lifestyle, about a year ago. I did this documentary where I had to lose a bunch of weight, and it's coming out in the spring. It'll be on Netflix, but it's about not to plug this, but I'm just using this as
no,
a
go ahead, man.
this
is awesome. Yeah, this is.
But the documentary is about the American diet as seen through the eyes of a chubby touring stand-up comedian, which I fit the bill for perfectly. And so doing that documentary, one of the twists in the movie is I had to lose a bunch of weight. So since I've done that, I've had to learn to be more active in my lifestyle. So I've just been really getting into playing more sports and stuff. We got a little unofficial Los Angeles baseball comedians club here. With me, Ryan Singer, Billy Wayne Davis, some of those guys. We'll get together a couple times a week and just shag fly balls, take batting practice, stuff like that. So yeah, we're doing a lot of baseball, a lot of tennis, a lot of hiking. So just trying to get outdoors and be active, and at the same time spending time with funny people. So that's really how I spend most of my time during the day. And then at night, I'm always, if I'm not doing a spot, I'm still at a show, hanging out with pals, and trying. Then, of course, reversing the effects of the exercise by just hanging out and drinking beer all night. So, so it's a vicious cycle I'm caught up in.
That's good, man. Okay, yeah. I was wondering what you were doing. Okay,
but yeah, I mean, that's my advice, literally, to any comedian, no matter where you're at. Man, find you a good core group of funny friends, preferably comedians, and just spend time with them, man. Just hang out and do nonsense. Just do stuff that's not even productive. Just being around funny people can be so beneficial in ways that you don't even realize in the moment.
Yeah, me and one of the comics and some few chicks, we went to there's this place in Huntsville called Chakalaka's, and it's just a fucking trampoline place. That's all it is, just fucking trampolines everywhere. That shit was fun, but I did not know how out of shape I was.
Oh yeah.
I'm very thin, and I'm in shape, and then fucking 3 minutes into it, I'm just jumping. What's going on? Why can't I breathe? And my lungs feel like they're frozen. I was having to, and all these little kids are steady going at it, and I'm just this sucks. So, but no, it's a fun experience. But like, yeah, I agree. Like hanging out with fun people, just funny people all the time. Not fun. Well, fun too. Like you gotta have fun doing it. But yeah, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
you talked about it a little bit. You touched on it, and I was gonna ask. But so, like, for listeners that don't know, you used to live in a van. How like I heard a little bit about the story when I heard you do stand up. But how was that like? Like, was it? I don't know. You just slow with that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I lived in a van for 25 months, just over 2 years, and yeah, it wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't like an attention drawing thing. It was just a necessity. Right before I lived, my first 25 months in LA was in the van. So I left Atlanta in a van and drove it to LA and lived in it for 2 years. So, and that was just based off of necessity. Before I moved to LA, I had wanted to move for about 2 years and just couldn't save up enough money. Just, you know, being a full-time at the time feature comedian, which anybody knows about, you know, feature comics, you're not getting paid much. So I was on the road every weekend featuring at clubs all over the country, just barely scraping by. Some weekends just breaking even as far as the expenses, you know, the gas or whatever that it took to drive wherever to make my $250 and come home. The point being, I wasn't able to save up enough money to have a comfortable little nest egg to move out to LA, to get an apartment, to do all that. So after about 2 years of frustration from that, one day I just had a light bulb pop off in my head, and I said, you know what, damn it, I'll buy a van and live in that and not have to pay rent. I'll combine my car payment and my rent into one thing and just live in my car, i.e. my van. And yeah, so that's and plus, you know, there was a little more thought put into it than that. You know, part of the logic was, well, I tour a lot, I'm on the road a lot anyway. You know, no, even if I could afford to pay rent in LA, it would have been unjust to do it and be gone half the time. So yeah, it was just a necessity. So anyway, as far as how it was, you know, I try not to look at it. You know, I try not to talk too much about it in a negative light because it was a self-induced hardship. I didn't want any sympathy or, you know, poor me, I live in a van. No, it's a choice I made. Not like I fell on hard times or anything like that. It was a self-induced thing. It was just a way to be in LA and to survive as a full-time comic, you know, without having to, you know, work 60 hours a week flipping burgers just to pay rent on some crappy apartment I was never at. I thought, well, you know, I'll live in the van. Plus, one of the good things is it kept me focused. You know, it keeps you humble, keeps you focused. You know, when you wake up in a van every morning, you know, you remember why you're there. You know, I'm in the van because I'm supposed to be doing comedy, and let me get to work on trying to change the situation. So, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, it wasn't. Well, sometimes it was fun. It was never fun. It was interesting. Yeah. I mean, there were some low points as far as like just psychologically, you know, where it did grind me down after a while. Just, you know, just not having a home for 2 years. But, you know, I don't regret it. And if I had to do it again, I will. But yeah, it was a very interesting experience. As far as like details, got broken into twice while I was in the van. Oh shit! Yeah, twice in the middle of the night, I got woken up by somebody trying to break in. That was pretty interesting.
Holy shit! Were they like, sorry, you're here. I didn't know you.
Oh yeah, I scared the shit out of both of those guys. They thought it was an unoccupied work van. They were breaking in to probably steal tools or scrap metal or something. And man, you should have seen the looks on their faces. One guy popped out with a machete. Nothing on but my underwear. So I hop out with a machete, scared the shit out of that one dude. That was pretty funny. But yeah, no, it was an interesting experience, you know. And like socially, it was a bit awkward. Like at first, I wasn't even going to talk about it on stage. Yeah, just because it's kind of a vulnerable thing. People don't, especially non-comedians. Like non-comedians don't. You know, they just know you live in a van. What are you, hobo? What's the matter with you, you bum? Yeah, they don't get it. But, you know, even comedians are like, what the hell are you doing? And a lot of my friends were very, I don't want to say sympathetic, but they were very, I don't know, they were they were encouraging as far as like, oh man, come sleep on my couch, don't do that, don't do that. I'm like, nah, man, I didn't want to be a burden on anybody because, again, this is a choice I made.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want my decision to inconvenience anybody else. So
yeah.
Rarely would I crash at people's houses or anything like that. Towards the end, there were times where like some good buddies they'd go out on tour or whatever, and they'd be like, dude, just stay at my house while I'm gone. So I would take them up on that every now and then, but for the most part, I didn't take any charity or anything like that as far as people wanting me to crash on their couch.
Yeah,
just because I'm stubborn too.
Yeah, I'm
so
stubborn.
Like, I know I can do this. But yeah, by the time I got out, it couldn't have come at a better time because I was starting to kind of get to the end of my rope, like just psychologically and physically, just living in a van, just living in a cramped little space, sleeping on a crappy little mattress, not having some amenities that the average person takes for granted, not having my own shower, my own bathroom, not being able to cook my own food. Even the psychological comfort of knowing, like, I could never fully let my guard down. So, like, at night, it's human nature to come home at night and lock the doors and kick the shoes off and turn on the TV and just unwind and just feel safe and comfortable and relaxed. And I could never do that because, I never knew at a moment's notice someone going to break in. And the cop going to be banging on my door. Is a hobo going to be trying to, bang on my door? Like, am I going to have to move? Am I parked in the wrong spot? Is somebody calling the police on me? Like, I can never fully psychologically relax. So, that wears you down after a certain amount of time. But, it was a thing I wanted to do, the thing I needed to do, and it served its purpose. And so, yeah, I have no regret. And I got some good material out of it. Yeah,
you did. And it worked out. Like, you're doing great. You're in an apartment now. Like, it seems to be going great, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's...
Yeah, I can't complain,
Good, man. How is it, like, because you do Squidbillies, and I guess after this we'll do the Murder, Marry, Fuck, and then we'll close it down. But how, like, do you ever see those guys? Do you, like, okay, I got to go to Atlanta, or do you just straight do your voice from where you live now, or how does that?
Sometimes, yeah, I've done a few since I moved out here, and they do have a studio out here that I'll record at. But when I was in Atlanta, I would go down to the TBS building and do it. That's where they were based out of. And, a couple times I got to meet some of the other voices, Unknown Henson and some of those guys. But for the most part, I'm just in there by myself with the director/creator, Dave Willis, and he'll just kind of direct me and tell me how he wants me to read the lines. And I'll do them a few times, and he'll pick out the best one, and there we go. It's a pretty simple process. And, I'm not getting rich doing it, but, like, when they call me to do it, like, it takes about 15 minutes, and it's a pretty decent paycheck for 15 minutes. So I'm always like, when they call, I answer the phone.
You're like,
yeah, I'll be there tomorrow, man. Yeah, I'm definitely open. I can knock this out in 15 minutes and get your paycheck, so that's fine.
Yeah. Now, how did you come up with that? Was it a voice they wanted, or were you just trying out different voices, and they were like, that's it, you're the one?
Yeah, they saw me at a show. Like I said, they're based in Atlanta, so when I lived in Atlanta, Dave Willis, the creator, was at one of my shows. I can't remember which one. It might have been Star Bar, Laughing Skull, or something. But I used to do a joke about... I used to actually be a radio DJ.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for about 5 years. So I used to do a bit about... I forgot what the premise was, but about my time as a radio DJ. And within that bit, I would do this big act out of me on the radio doing, like, the DJ voice. And he happened to be at that show. And then he approached me after the show, and he goes, "Oh, we just wrote a character who is a right-wing talk show host, radio host, kind of like a southern version of a Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh." And he goes, "I think that voice you just did might work for this character. Why don't you come in and audition for it?" And I did. And then, like, the next week, he called me and goes, "Yeah, we want to use you for this character." So I probably it's a reoccurring character. It's not a main character,
mm-hmm.
but I've probably done 6 or 7 episodes that character has appeared in. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
Man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, just kind of fell in my lap.
Man, okay. Well, Man, it's been fun having you on. Let's do this. This is one of my favorite part. We started this like a few months, not a few months, but like a few episodes. Well, it's probably months now. Yeah, fun. Okay, we started this, and I was like, because I'm trying to put in little bits to make it, I don't know, cooler as fuck. Cooler as fuck. So then like I came up with this like just for one podcast, and then a few people were like, you need to do that again, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'll do it. I mean, you're a listener and you liked it, so I'll do what you want. So, and what we typically do, like I talked to you a little bit before, and if you're just a first time listener, we just pick 3 people, and then I got my 3 picked, and I just give them to you. And then if you need to Google them or anything, you can. I might need to Google the ones you have picked for me. I don't know. I have had to do that before. And then we're just like, okay, I would murder or marry or fuck that one.
Okay.
It's just pretty simple. Pretty simple game. And I guess the ones I picked for you was Oprah. And let's see, the Queen of England. Yep. I guess. Yeah, the Queen of England, and
who is? I don't even know who the current Queen of England is.
Yeah, me either. I don't. Yeah, I just said the Queen. I didn't even think of that. Let's go.
So, okay, these suggestions you're giving me, I have to pick one of the 3, which I would do to these people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's not go with the Queen of England then, because I don't even know who the fuck that is. Let's go with. Do you know Jessica Cameron?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, she's been on the podcast. She's okay. Let's see. Let's just go with
and it shouldn't be anybody I know. I don't want to see somebody at a party and be like, "Oh, thanks for saying you'd murder me."
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I thought it would be rude if I wanted to fuck you. Now it's awkward.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, let's go with Meryl Streep. Let's go with Oprah. And let's. What about Chelsea Handler? I know you're not gonna cross paths. Is it Handler? That's it.
Yeah, I think it's Handler.
Would you? I mean,
okay.
Like I can take that one out. I know y'all might cross paths one day.
No, it doesn't matter.
Fuck her.
she fucked her way to the middle anyway.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't be upset about it. All right, I would. I'd fuck Chelsea, marry Meryl Streep, and kill Oprah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Of course, now that's the hate crime.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with her race. It has everything to do with her self-righteousness.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's going to be riots in L.A. tonight.
Yeah, and Chelsea, like, I couldn't marry her. She would be too annoying. But, I wouldn't kick her out of bed.
Yeah.
And Meryl Streep, she's up there in age, but I think she'd still make a good wife. So, yeah. I would go with fuck Chelsea, marry Meryl, and kill Oprah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's actually how I would have done it. Yeah, fuck the Queen of England. You're not good enough to get in that. You're not even good enough to get married.
When you told me about this game earlier today, I thought I had to pick 3.
Yeah, no, you pick 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay. For me or for you?
Yeah, you pick 3 for me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I had to pick my own 3 to tell you who I would.
No,
okay.
I was I was driving when I told you, and I was just like, gotta say it really quick or I'm gonna die. So yeah, you just pick, you can, and they can be dudes. I'd rather, let's be fair, I gave you 3 chicks. Like, give me 3 chicks.
Oh well, I mean, wait a minute. Do you want them to be dudes?
No, not at all.
You could have just not said that. I wouldn't have assumed that I could be 6 dudes.
Yeah, no. This one person, when we were playing this, they gave me like 2 dudes and a chick, so I had to like marry and fuck a dude or marry or fuck a dude. So I was
all right, I'm gonna stick to a theme here. Okay. I like we just said, I lived in a van for 2 years, so I had no TV, no entertainment, whatever. So I just moved into the apartment a few months ago, so I splurged and bought cable. So I've been watching a lot of TV lately.
Okay.
So but I'm going a step further. This has really nothing to even do with TV stars. These are all commercial people right now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So I don't know. Do you have cable? Do you watch television?
I really don't, but let's try it. Like.
Okay. Well, here, see if you know these 3. What about the new Wendy's gal, the redheaded Wendy's gal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got her. We got Flo, Progressive Flo. You know her?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Flo from Progressive, and then I think it's AT&T. But man, I'm digging this gal, the new AT&T gal, the little She got dark hair. She's always wearing a blue shirt. She like works in the AT&T store, and people come in, and she tells them about whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking it up right now. Okay, yeah, that's her. Okay.
She's a bucket of all right there.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, we'll stick with the theme of commercial females.
Okay.
Wendy's gal, Progressive Flo, and the AT&T brunette.
Oh man, that's hard, man. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fucked me up on that one. They're all.
See.
Okay, which one am I gonna marry? I think. Man, I fucking hate to do this to her because I like her, but she is fucking annoying. Flo's got to go. Like, I'm gonna have to murder her.
Okay, you're gonna murder Flo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
I would just feel like we gotta get a life insurance. Like we gotta do this.
Yeah, well, she's got the life insurance covered, so that takes away some of the guilt.
Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, the Wendy's gal. Which one would I do? Ooh, which one would I just... I want to have... Ooh, that's a good one. That's a hard one. Okay. Man.
I think it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because remember, the girl you marry, you can still have sex with her. See, that's the loophole.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
Or am I changing? Am I cheating?
No, we make loopholes. There's plenty of loopholes.
Well, it's implied. It's implied if you're going to marry somebody, you're going to have sex with them. So you're still going to get to have sex with both these gals.
That's true as fuck. Okay, I'm gonna have sex with. Which one? Okay, I would want to marry the AT&T girl because I'm looking.
There you go. That's a good call.
Oh man,
because I think the Wendy's girl's a little condescending. She's a little mouthy.
Yeah. And
I think in the context of a marriage, that might get old.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and I wouldn't tolerate it very long. I'd just be like, no, I gotta get.
She's sexy. She's an attractive gal. But I think a one-night stand with the Wendy's gal, and then you marry the AT&T gal. Mm-hmm. She's wife material.
Yeah, she is definitely wife material. I'm looking at all her photos on Google Images right now. I'm like, gotta get you.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to wrap this podcast up short, I guess.
Yeah. Gotta jerk off real quick.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, man, that was fun. That was creative as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, because any hack can say, "Oh, I want to have sex with Katy Perry," but I'm looking for those below the radar girls.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
because those are the ones that also make you think, I could maybe really pull that off in real life.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like if I met the AT&T gal in real life at a commercial audition, I may be able to hook that up.
Yeah.
But, Selma Hayek, Katy Perry, whomever, I understand they're out of my league. Come on. What fun is that?
I want the AT&T and Verizon. No, I don't want the Verizon. Yeah. AT&T, because I was thinking, like, when I said Verizon, I was like, that might still be a dude.
And I think she is AT&T. I have to double check that, but you know who I'm talking about. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Whatever phone plan it is, she's all right.
Yeah, it's the AT&T, because I don't know if Verizon even, I don't think they're doing too much of I don't think they have a person, anymore. I know they had that dude for a while, that annoying... Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, guy?
Yeah, can you hear me now, guy?
Oh, if I would have crossed paths with him, then I'd just punched him in the face. No.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I would have fucked him. Oh, wait.
That might have been rape. We made a rape joke.
It's not rape if it's same sex.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you just fuck a dude just like a bad fraternity prank.
Yeah.
I got you. It's okay.
And it's not getting a three-way either. That's what I hear. Well, man, I'm gonna have to cut it short. I gotta get ready for this open mic before they open up. Man, I really hope we can do this again, because like the initial one, I figure, because I've done it with like other people, and like the initial one is usually it's just Q&A, and then after that it's kind of like we get a vibe for each other, and then it's like it's just fucking, it's awesome. I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah.
But I know you're pretty busy, and I'm fucking booked now until February, which is good. I'm not complaining. It's just, I remember when I started, I was like, please be on my podcast, anybody, and then now I have unlimited resources to just, a lot of comedians come down here, and then there's Facebook, there's Twitter, so that helps out a lot. I tried to get Mark Maron on a few times, like, by spamming the fuck out of his Twitter. That didn't work.
Yeah, he's going to be hard to get.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. That's just like that was. I went through this phase where like every day I think I messaged him on Twitter like twice a day, like will you? So I was finally like, he's too up there.
That's probably not the best approach either.
No, it's not. No, after a while I was like, I would not want someone doing this to me. At this point I'd be like, no, I'm definitely not, like ever. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you getting on. I hope we can do this sometime next year, if possible.
Sure.
And but yeah, man, this was fun. And all I ask, okay, and hold on, let me pause it. We're done. Oh well, if you would carry it out with me at the very end, we all say slate it at the end. Like I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then we say slate it.
Slate it?
Yeah, slate it. That's like instead of saying I'm killing it or I'm killing, I'm just like a slate it. I'm just like slate it. So slate it. We'll do it like we'll count 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do it 1, 2, 3. Slate it.
I know the manager, his name is Curtis Blow. He don't get high, but baby, if you want, he'll go down low. Doing a podcast on a random Thursday night. Curtis Blow, he's gonna make you feel alright. I know the manager, he knows what's going down. He'll make you laugh, but he damn sure is not a clown. I know the manager, and this man, he's got clout. He's gonna make you scream, you know he'll make you shout. He's gonna make you scream, he'll make you shout. I know the manager.